The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Hello, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, in the SWBC studio. Ladies, welcome back. My name is Nicole Hutchison, Aisha Morrison, Jess Navarez, and Christy Scales. We've got a marvelous guest coming in just probably about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. But he'll be great. He'll be great.
We're not saying who it is.
Yeah, we're not telling you.
It has to be a surprise.
That ruins the whole surprise, right?
We have to make you guys watch.
No,
can't give a hint.
Christy,
the hint is it's a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the hint. It's a surprise.
Just know that. Yeah, no, I'd give it away.
It's worth the wait. It's worth the wait.
It's worth the wait.
And you're really going to enjoy it.
Yes.
Great dude.
Great dude.
That's your hint.
But for now, we've got other news to discuss, ladies. No Tyron Smith. No Uncle Hank, as Aisha likes to call him.
Unc.
Yeah, Cowboys are losing Tyron Smith to the New York Jets. Of course, Jonathan Hankins signing a one-year deal with the Seahawks. What's y'all's takeaways, man? I mean, this is obviously two big losses for this Cowboys franchise. And moving forward, big shoes to fill for both of them. Jess?
I tweeted this because when I got the notion that Tyron would be now protecting Aaron Rodgers, the first thing that came to my mind was that scene in The Grinch when he's like, hate, double hate, loathe entirely. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And then you read the details of how the money for him is going to be kind of spread out. And Christy and I talked about this on another podcast, but with incentives, how much he can make. I guess what's very frustrating about this is that it was a very doable deal, bless you, that the Cowboys could have gotten done to keep your Hall of Fame future gold jacket tackle in that offensive line that is going to need all the help it can get already. Losing your starting center, people, again, can say and discredit the amount of, impact that not having Tyler Biadasz will have, but being a center is a difficult job. That's going to impact your offensive line enough. Now you're losing a veteran, all-pro, future gold jacket tackle. I can't. It upsets me. It was doable. They didn't find a way, and it's frustrating. And now you have more holes than you did at the end of the loss of the Green Bay game. You have more holes, and you already had a lot of holes. So how do you fill it? Just the draft? Free agency, that's not going on. So I'm frustrated with how you fill the holes that are now here because, like you said, big shoes to fill, but you need a plug-and-play player in these positions. It's vital for the success of the team. So I'm frustrated, and I wish him well, and the Jets better take care of him.
Yeah, and it goes to show you how much lack thereof money we really did not have,
right?
Or we're just, in my opinion, not spending it in the right areas.
Well, they're being very prudent.
Yeah,
but they were prudent last year too, and two of the big additions last year came via trade, and it was about this time of year when they brought in Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks. So it was mid to late March, like March 20th, March 14th, something like that, March 19th. And so, but it cost you fourth and fifth rounders. And so now that's coming back this year. But Aisha, what is your take on the Hankins? Because I know, she's
struggling with this one.
Still struggling with it because they also lost Neville Gallimore. So two of your defensive tackles are gone.
You have Galiless now.
Stop the door.
If I'm not mistaken, your DT depth is Oso Odigizua, Carl Davis, Mozzie Smith, and if you want to get a little fancy, Chauncey Golston. But I could definitely see Mike Zimmer moving Chauncey back to DN.
Because you've lost Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong.
Yep.
The DT depth is very concerning. If I'm not mistaken, even when you look at, a lot of people are like, they felt like Hankins took a step back last year. He did deal with some injuries and things like that, but it's no mistake that when he was on the field, it was a difference in how this team played defense. And as far as DT goes, I just cannot believe that after that performance defensively, like that you don't prioritize getting veteran defensive linemen or tackles in this room. Teams not only attacked your edges, they did attack your interior. And to lose probably one of the best things that's happened to your defensive line, they went out and got Hankins because they knew they were not good against the run.
They needed him.
Yeah.
And to lose him, but also too, to your point, Jess, the details of his change haven't come out, but it sounds like he's going to be doing some veteran minimum stuff. So when you talk about that, even so, it's like, all right, baby, we clearly ain't on no Target budget. I thought maybe we was on a Walmart budget.
Oh no,
baby, we might be on a
Dollar
family.
General.
We may be on a Family Dollar.
You might not even be on that budget at this point.
At this, I'm concerned.
You might not be on that budget.
That's how my mind operates. But it's concerning. It is concerning the lack of urgency that I feel from this team. Like, it would be different if they did not lose the way they lost to Green Bay. Yeah. But that was arguably the worst loss of the year. And then to turn around and to not have the urgency. And again, like, we can talk about the cap and all this stuff. Hey, respectfully, we see other teams around this league do it.
Yep.
So I'm very concerned with the defensive line depth because, like, to your point, you said, Christy, you did lose two of your backup ends too. So it's like you lost a backup D tackle in Neville Gallimore, and now it's just
you can even scale it back. Yeah. You lost Leighton Vander Esch now. I mean,
officially,
right?
Well, I think what's disappointing to me is, and I want to talk a little more about Tyron's contract, in that when he restructured last year, it put dead money into this year's cap. Mm-hmm. So Tyron Smith is counting second most dead cap. Zeke is still counting 6.1 million for us in dead cap, and then 6.0. Yes, let's see. Zeke is 6.04. And so Tyron's counting just over $6 million. Leighton Vander Esch is counting $2.25 million. And then Dorrance Armstrong, who's going to be playing against you twice as a member of the division rival Commanders, is $1.5 million. So it's not just that you don't put the money towards Tyron or Dorrance. Leighton's a different thing because of the neck issue. But still, you're paying so much money for them not to play for you. Now, I know that happens every year, but the Cowboys had been pretty clean with the dead cap the previous couple of years, like in 22 and the like. The one thing about Tyron, though, is we see that it's 1 year deal, $6.5 million. That's what's reported for the Jets, and that's true. But
that's guaranteed, right?
Well, it's heavily incentivized, right? Because
heavily.
But here's the thing. The incentives work in a couple different ways. The likely to be earned incentives, meaning that we expect you to achieve them, mean that they count against this year's cap. And then unlikely to be earned count against next year's cap. Well, he played over 70% of snaps this year, and it ended up being like an extra $4 million from the Cowboys for reaching his playing incentives. Well, the Jets, with all of the incentives that they put towards Tyron into playing time, now, because he played so much last year, you have to anticipate that he'll play that much this year. His cap charge is actually $12.25 million. So I know it's reported as 1.6 1 year for 6.5, but you have to account for those part of those incentives that are likely to be earned. So it's 12.25. Yeah. Now, to me, a future Hall of Famer, a quality, proven left tackle in the NFL like Tyron Smith, to me, is easily worth $12.25 million, but having to fit within the budget there. Yeah. But last year from the Cowboys, he earned 7.3. That was with a $3 million base, with a signing bonus, and reaching $4 million in incentives. So, just to put things in perspective, you got a Pro Bowl season out of Tyron for 7.3, but it's counting $6 million against your dead cap this year.
And expect him to honestly exceed that, because when the Cowboys figured out his whole practice regimen and making sure that he was off, veteran rest days, of course, included, and then Thursdays, Fridays, he didn't practice till Friday?
Yeah.
I believe. So
I do wonder if they're going to uphold that, though, because it's not, that's not the norm
it's not
at all. And, the Cowboys figuring that out for him was great.
Yeah.
Will another team follow suit? Possibly, if they want to get the best out of them. But there are some coaches who want their offensive linemen to practice, especially since they get limited time as it is. I mean, he is the veteran of all veterans.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now he's going to a new system, new coaching. He has to gain continuity with that offensive line. I'm not sure that's going to be a thing. We'll see, but it was a very unique situation the way that they practiced him yesterday. You don't see that across the league that often.
I feel like it'd be foolish of them not to, though, because you clearly saw the higher success rate that he had by doing it in previous seasons. I mean, again, you're talking about a guy that hadn't played a full season since 2015, right? And so this year, you got the best Tyron that you have gotten in years. And I credit Mike McCarthy for being willing to do that with his guys, to say, look, I'm thinking about the longevity. I'm not thinking about right now and all of that. You guys know what you're doing, and it goes back to not micromanaging. So it is an interesting point to see if the Jets will do it, but they'd be foolish not to, considering you saw the success he could have with it.
And if you're paying him, you might as well.
Yep.
You know
he can do it.
You know he can do
Tyron
it. You know
Smith.
it works.
It's just so frustrating, though,
Period.
because you can try and manage as much as you like, but
It makes me so mad.
But the year before with the hamstring injury, that was here at the Star in the evening training camp, and he walked off with
Like
this
nothing.
hamstring injury, and
Gruesome.
and it was not a contact practice. It was not a wear and tear. He had hardly done anything in camp, really. So you can manage it as much as you like, but that's the thing with these players. There's a lot of age and mileage. In Tyron's case, mileage on that body. You know, so it's certainly a risk.
Now, do you move Tyler Smith to left tackle? Do you keep him?
I think it all depends on what happens in the draft.
Yep.
You know, that it's
point,
heavy
you have to wait.
it's heavy in offensive tackles, and Aisha is our draft expert on this show. But but there are other teams that also have big needs at offensive tackle. So if you're targeting someone in the first round, there's not a guarantee that at 24 that he's going to be available.
I mean, I guess the thing is, it's like, and we talked about it on the draft show yesterday, now that you guys mention it, this team is putting themselves in a position to have to draft for need. And again, I think everyone does draft for need based on BPA, okay, and they'll see, okay, if this is the best player available, we'll see where that fits in our needs, and they'll draft from there. But they're kind of showing their hand here, and I don't think that's helpful going into the draft. They have not really replenished a lot of the positions that they've lost. You've lost 5 starters. 5. Not like 1 or 2, baby. You have lost 5.
Yeah.
And to go into this draft, I'm concerned about, the fact that they are going to probably be drafting for the needs they need to fill. And also, too, it's so odd that they're handling free agency again like this, and just the way that things are happening, because you didn't get a lot from your draft class last year.
Yep.
So that puts you in another place to where you're kind of playing catch up.
Yeah.
So whoever the first 3 draft picks are, you're almost asking for immediate impact. You're asking for almost immediate
starter caliber guys.
You definitely need to get something from them right away. Christy, you mentioned that this tackle class is deep. It is, but once you start getting to the mid rounds, it's like I don't know about that. So
it's got to be a first or second day, right?
Yeah, and I do think there are more guards in the later rounds, so maybe they do decide to just go guard in some of the mid rounds and then move Tyler out there. I will say, and I've said it before, if they move Tyler this year, wherever he is, he needs to just stay there.
I was just about to say, put him somewhere and keep him there. Quit moving him around.
He's the ultimate team player.
He
has been very, very open about the fact that he enjoys being reliable. He enjoys being called upon.
We talked about
for
that.
the betterment, but for the betterment of the athlete, of the player, he needs to go somewhere where he can develop. This will be his 4th year?
Third
year. I would hope
he was playing like a 4th year player.
That's fair. I would hope that he would that the team, wherever they put him this year, they would keep him there and allow him to start developing and perfecting his craft, because there's a difference between guard and tackle. There's so many differences. The kick steps, the spacing, the way they strike, everything. And so I love that he's versatile, but I don't want that to be a crutch consistently for them to not draft accordingly and to be aggressive with that. Now, do y'all wonder if if the letting go of Tyron says anything about maybe what they think about Awesome Richards, or maybe what they think about, also too, I totally forgot to, one of my homies brought it up, they brought in La'el Collins late last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to try to make him the swing tackle and get him in shape and have him ready to go. I'm wondering if that has
also played
anything
guard too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you've got more depth at guard than tackle.
do need
Now
tackle.
you're assuming that let's go. May be able to give you something, or Ball could give you something. Honestly, I'm more concerned about center.
Yeah.
You got Brock Hoffman, who like if you had a game tomorrow, he'd be your starting
ready.
center.
Yeah.
But it just seems like there is more depth and moving parts, not only with what you have, but what you can get in the draft or free agency at guard and tackle than at center. Does that make sense?
There's some guys in the draft that are some of the later rounds that I think will be good center options for the
Good
team.
center, like day one plug and play, possibly.
Yeah. But I will say
They will be there for 24.
I also think
Later.
though,
No,
later.
Like day three. Or
Yeah.
day three.
I also think though too, it's one of those things that I personally didn't realize until this season how much of a chemistry has to be built with your center and your quarterback. And yes, you can have a player go in and do what a center needs to do. It doesn't necessarily mean him and Dak will be on the same page day one. Yeah, like that's just the reality of the position. Is Tyler Biotish and Dak Prescott had a very good friendship outside of football that they grew so they could communicate. So we talked about that in terms of CD and Dak, how Dak and CD worked on the Dak yard to do that. Biotish and Dak were doing the same thing. So their communication would be on point. So it would all be connecting dots, during games and not figuring out in game time situations. So again, I'm with you, Christy. I don't like that they didn't try to reacquire Biotish more, because again, people can say what they wanted about him, and yes, there was issues with coverage and allowing sacks. We all know that, but also you didn't notice a lack of communication from your quarterback and your center, because they worked their tails off to make sure it was there. So it is concerning.
This is my last thing. When you look at the NFC as a whole, I think if you look at a lot of teams, man, listen, that interior of the defensive line that's where a lot of teams' strengths are right now, is like the good teams, is that they have good interior defensive linemen. The interior of your offensive line needs to be a little violent, needs to be, ready to go wrestle every day. And so for me, I'm also too looking at their lack of run efficiency last year. A lot of that had to do with the center not being able to get to the second level consistently and things like that. Centers are tone setting as well.
Exactly.
And there's a temperament that comes with being a center. And so I do think that this team does need to look at that position in itself to see how they can run the ball more efficiently, because if your center can't get to the second level, nobody cares. I'm just being honest. And so it's limiting also as well with how you can do different run plays and stuff like that. The run game, stopping the run and running the ball are two of the reasons why you got kicked out the playoffs.
Yep.
And I don't understand what y'all are doing.
Well,
tonight.
not just once.
They've said the emphasis is on that.
Is it?
But here's the
they've
thing.
said that.
Kicked you out of the playoffs
they
not
have
just
said that.
once, twice, 2 years in a row. Need not forget. It's a recurring issue, everybody.
It's hard to be patient, that's for sure. It's
My
hard to be
patience are
patient through
gone.
the first couple weeks
Nah,
of free
my
agency.
patience are gone, Christy.
But hey,
Testy.
just pay attention to recent history, and this is the way the Cowboys have operated.
And that's what's so upsetting, because it's not getting you nowhere.
Well, it's got you 3 wins of 3 straight
12
seasons and 12 wins.
Yeah.
And that's fine and dandy.
I know,
people
but I
are
know it's
asking
measured
for
in
them
the
to put
playoffs.
into-
It's measured in the playoffs.
I mean, and it's not even that it's measured in the playoffs, because the issues that you had this season, they showed up in the regular season. The Bills.
It's not like it was
Like-
a surprise.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
we knew it.
Yeah.
We called it before the game. We said, if they lose this game, it's because they didn't stop the run.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones just ran all over the place.
Tired of him.
Look, he pretty much ran from one side of Texas to the other during that game. And again, where was your run game? Oh,
Yeah.
right. Non-existent like it had been all season. And that was not because of the lack of effort from the players. It wasn't something that was normal because it wasn't there all season.
Yeah.
Don't get us started.
But yeah,
Don't get us started.
that's my thing. It's like, my therapist tell me all the time. I used to like, you can't. And hey, therapy's healthy.
It is.
Hey, I love
we
that.
love
It
therapy.
is.
We love a
It
good
is.
therapist.
She always asks me. She's like, I think you know the answer here to what you're asking me. And that's because I found out
Yeah.
if I'm making the same mistakes over and over again, she's not giving me
Definition of
input.
insanity.
Yeah, she's not giving me input. She's just like,
We
I
hear
think
that
you can
quote
figure this
every
one out on your
offseason.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for them to figure it out on their own.
Mm.
That maybe drafting and developing is fantastic. I appreciate that they're a team that likes to draft and develop, because I think there's a lack of that in this game. However, you have to marry it to doing some things in free agency, especially depending on the position. You don't want no baby coming in here at D tackle. Most of them take time to develop.
Hank told us that.
Like Mozzie.
Yeah.
Hank told us
he's
that.
gonna take time to get to the point to where he's gonna be able to efficiently stop the run consistently. Guys don't do that. Jordan Davis, those guys over there, Jalen Carter for Philly.
Yeah.
Highly touted. Everyone was really excited about them. See what happened to them towards the end of the year. Their play tapered off because they didn't have the depth that they needed, and they still got Similac behind their ears. It's just like I just don't understand the thought process, and that's all.
Aisha,
y'all
you
can
kind of
talk.
said you touched on them basically showing their hand for this draft. Christy, has there been a time that you remember the Cowboys just showing their hand like this heading into a draft?
Oh, yeah.
They do it all the time.
Yeah.
Every year, pretty
Often.
much.
Yeah. Pretty much. But that's not, you know what? There are 31 other podcasts for 31 other teams that most of them can say the same thing.
Yeah, that's
honestly.
fair.
Really. So, but yeah, you talk about therapy. I feel kind of like I'm on the receiving end of the 1-800 number where, you got the Cowboys woes, and it's like, can't even walk the dog without people walking up to me and saying,
I'm
hey,
sure.
what are we doing? Letting the guys go and not
Yep.
signing. And again, I understand it's hard to be patient.
That's why I went to Disney. I said, look, I need some space from this. This is unhealthy. I need to relax. And here I am, relaxed. No patience, but relaxed.
All right. Well, hopefully our special guest has arrived. We're going to take our first break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Wow, he has. All right, right on time. We'll be right back.
All right.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now for the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Youth Camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes of all skill levels, ages 6 to 16, are invited to learn from the best this summer at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Football camps are led by former NFL players, and dance camps are taught by current Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Register before May 17th to save $25. Visit dallascowboys.com/camps. You know how I feel about saving that $25. Go do it.
I'm dead. Not the saving the $25. I love that though.
Look, you
We
save
love
money where you
deals.
can.
We love
Tank of
deals.
gas in this
Part of that is a tank of gas.
Baby, listen.
Maybe not a full tank.
All right.
It's
all that matters.
Yeah,
Hard
there you
out
go.
here.
We got a special guest up in the building, y'all. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We got Damone Clark
Yay!
in the studio.
Yay.
Thank you so much for joining us, man.
So excited.
Yeah, you got a nice off season, I'm assuming, right?
I mean, I didn't really
Hope
do
so.
too much. I mean, went back to Louisiana, spent time with family.
Love that.
That's about it. Got back to work. That's it.
Yeah. Have you been starting to train on stuff like that over the past couple of weeks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I took maybe a week and a half off, and then I just went back to work because I mean, I hit some goals that I wanted last year, but you know, the only way that I know how to really just get the bad taste out of my mouth from last year is just to go back to work, and that's pretty much all I really been doing.
Well, what goals did you not hit? You led the team in tackles. You played over 70% of snaps. I mean, it was really really a wonderful,
He's a perfectionist.
great season for you.
I used to tell you, bro, I'm really hard on myself. So me personally, I don't really be needing nobody else to be hard on me because I be so hard on myself already. But I mean, it's like for me, I just hold myself to such a standard that I just feel like I didn't meet what I wanted to do last year for myself. You know, obviously, you know, it was a wild season last year, and you know, a lot of guys going down and a lot of guys having to step up. But I mean, that's all a part of it. But I mean, like I said, I just went back to work and just looking to improve on the things that from last year, just to take the next step this year.
And Damone, obviously, something that altered the course of the season was Leighton going down so early on in week 5. And you and I had talked about this and kind of how he was your big brother, and not even just on the field, but off of the field. And he was with you through your rehab process, and kind of how difficult it was to see the empty locker next to you as your locker buddy as well. So talk about how that altered what you had to do on the field, because I feel like there's not really an understanding of how much your role changed with Leighton not being there anymore.
I mean, Leighton's the guy. He was the leader of the defense. You know, obviously him going down after the San Fran game, you know, I had to step up. I mean, it wasn't nothing different. I mean, the linebacker spots are really interchangeable. I mean, so it wasn't that. It was just me having just to step up and knowing that, you know, Leighton wasn't in the game. So it was like somebody got to, you know, get the front set up, and somebody got to, you know, get the calls out and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Other than that, everything else was the same, you know. And I think back about my time at LSU, I mean, it grew me to the point to where I'm at right now. And even sitting back now, that's a lot of things that I think about from last year or this past year is what can I have done better to help the defense, you know. And that's why I say, you know, I ain't really have much of an off season. I really just went back to work.
Leighton wrote a beautiful note to everyone, teammates, coaches, fans, the organization. I thought it was very heartfelt and so well written and emotional. But and I think it hit a lot of fans in the heart, you know, because we remember when he came in as this young rookie from this small town in Idaho. But what do you want fans to know about Leighton and what he specifically meant for this team?
I mean, a lot of guys might just know Leighton from the football aspects, but I had the opportunity to do a lot of off-the-field things with Leighton and just build that relationship with him. Even last year, last offseason, you know, I was coming off my rookie year, and I worked out with Leighton all offseason. And just really just spent time and just picked his brain because he's super smart. You know, a lot of people might not know Leighton off the field, but he's an even better person off the field than he is on the field. And obviously he's going to be missed, you know, and I read his heartfelt message, and I mean, I felt it myself because, I mean, I know the work that he put in. And then just from talking to Leighton on the side, outside of his message, you know, I felt for him because obviously nobody wants to walk away from the game that they love, you know, but it was just the circumstances. And, you know, the same thing that I told him, you know, everything happened for a reason. And I told him for sure that we're going to hold it down for him.
Mm-hmm. How did you kind of handle that news? I mean, this was someone that's like a brother to you on and off the field.
I mean, when he went down, like Leighton and I was talking, and obviously, like, I mean, I pretty much knew, you know, the options that he had at hand, you know, and obviously I just told him do what's best for you. I can't sit there and tell you, yeah, bro, I would do this, I would do that, like, because that's not me, you know, and I just told him, like, obviously he had to make the decision that was best for his wife and for his little girl. And I mean, I feel he made the right decision, you know, obviously having kids, you want to be able to play with your kids and enjoy that time, you know, and that's the biggest thing with me that, you know, you got to put yourself in his situation. You know, like I have a little girl myself, so I know at the end of the day, I want to be able to play with my little girl. You know, and obviously, football is going to be here, whether we leave or not. You know, and obviously it was hard on Leighton, but just knowing the type of guy that Leighton is, you're gonna see Leighton around again. He's not gonna just sit there and just be in the house and you know, just obviously he's gonna spend more time with his family, but Leighton's the type of guy, like, he want to be out there, so he's going to pour into me. He's going to pour into other guys to, you know, because he want to be out there with us.
Well, the one thing that's constant in the NFL is change, and not just roster, but coaches and the like. And so I want to ask you about not only Mike Zimmer, but Eric Kendricks coming in, and how many interactions have you had with Eric so far, if any, and do you think he'll be an even greater resource, not just as a veteran, but the fact that he played for Zimmer for so many years?
Oh yeah, I'm excited to have EK in. Obviously, he's played in the system already, so having a guy like that with experience coming in, I mean, I'm super excited to work with him. And as far as Zim, I mean, I had conversations with him. Obviously, change is good, you know, and from the things that, you know, talking to Anthony Barr, like, I'm going to really like him. Like, I love coaches that's hard on you. Like, that's it. Like, I come from LSU. Coach O was hard on us. So it's like, that's what I'm used to, you know, and he's a guy that's going to demand a lot from you. And, I mean, that's what I like. You know, obviously, DQ held us to a standard as well, and he put a lot on us, and it was up to us to respond, you know, and the biggest thing, like, I mean, it's the same thing, you know, it's just two different coaches, you know, that's coming in. You know, obviously it's fun. You know, you can't make it no more than it really is, because at the end of the day, it's still football. You know, y'all know. I mean, it's the NFL, so things happen. But I'm super excited to work with EK this year and just to pick his brain, because I'm going on year 3. I think it's like year 10 for him.
It'll be 10.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going on 3, and there's a big gap between 3 and 10. So I mean, I'm just going to pick his brain and learn. I'm sure the rest of the guys in the linebacker room will do that as well.
Is there anything? Oh, my bad. Is there anything in particular that you are most excited about learning from EK?
Really just, you know, learning the defense. Like I said, he played with Zim, you know, for a good while in Minnesota. So obviously, when you have a chance to come and, you know, come in with somebody that you played under their system already, I mean, that's a no-brainer. So I'm super excited. And just from talking to Anthony Barr, like, he's another Anthony Barr, but like they both are good dudes, man. You know, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, obviously I'm laid back. Like I don't do too much, you know, and I like guys that's similar to that.
I'm actually excited for you because with Zim, he does a lot of different things in his system. He'll show and go and do things where you drop in the coverage. He might play you close to the line of scrimmage. You're going to have opportunities to blitz the passer. I mean, he does shake it up a lot for the linebackers to be involved in stuff. But I'm also excited for you because, you know, you and I have had conversations, and maybe you won't say it, but I'm glad that you're going to have another teacher, another person to lean on. I think that's something that in the start of your career, it's been, you know, kind of guys being here and then they're gone, and then guys being here and then you're gone. And then, like you just mentioned, you need mentorship as a young player, and you really need mentorship as a linebacker. There's so many things that go on. And so I'm excited for you in your development to have Kendricks and to, like, know he's going to be here this season. And like you said, for you to pick his brain. I've been covering the draft, and we talk about the combine and we talk about pro days and things like that. I had the pleasure of going last year and just talking to some of the guys just in passing. I don't think that you get a real idea of how much pressure it is and how hard it is until you talk to those guys. Can you talk about a little bit just how it feels going through that process and how strenuous it is on you, really?
I mean, just training for the combine when I was going through. I mean, it was a fun experience. You know, you meet guys from different schools, and you all have one common goal in mind. You know, it was. I mean, I went to California. That was my second time going to California. I mean, the first time we played UCLA on my senior year, so that was only my second time going. And you know, I had the privilege to meet a lot of good guys that I still talk to this day. Do jersey swaps with them and everything. So I mean, you all have one common goal in mind. But I mean, obviously, once you get down to the combine, it's guys from everywhere.
Right.
You know, guys from everywhere, which we all have the common goal in mind. We all want to showcase our talent, and just the things that you do when you go there. You know, you have meetings. You gotta you have like meetings with the NFL, PA. You know, you got meetings with the different teams and stuff like that, which it could be nerve wracking. But really, when I went, I mean, it was easy when I went, because I was training at Proactive Sports Performance in California, and they really prepped us for everything, you know. And it's just like you really just going into meetings and just having a normal conversation. Like some coaches going to be, you know, just like having a normal conversation, and some of them going to just trying to see how you're going to react. You know, you just going there and just have a conversation. The biggest thing is just be who you are. You know, that's what I did when I went in there. Like, I remember meeting with the Cowboys. I mean, I sitting there talking to Q. I remember Will McClay was in there. A couple other guys. I think Scotty was in there. A couple guys. I just went there. You just have a normal conversation. You know, they already know everything that they need to know about you.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they obviously just want to see if you're going to tell the truth or if something, you know, crazy going to happen. So, I mean, I just say, like, it is nerve-wracking, but you go in there, you just sit down, just be yourself. They're going to put you on the board, like, ask you, like, questions like that. But it's really simple.
Damone, my question for you is, so like you just mentioned, Leighton was this big brother for you and really took on that role, and you got to learn from him. Well, there's a younger guy coming in behind you with DeMarvion Overshone, who his season got cut very, very short, very early in preseason. What is it like for you to be able to take over that big brother role for a guy like Demo, who has so much potential that we didn't get to see yet, is also going through a rehab process? What's it like for you to be able to be that big brother for him now?
I mean, I knew, like, obviously he had the chance to, you know, get his feet wet. Obviously he got hurt the Seattle game, but he, you know, he comes with a positive attitude every day. You know, obviously I'm a young guy myself, so I can't really sit there and, like, I'm a big brother, but I'm still learning myself too. But I mean, it's like he's a great guy, man. He stay engaged all the time, and I remember just it was the Jaguars game and some of the Seattle game from the preseason. We was just out there just flying around, you know. A lot of times
We remember that, yeah.
Yeah, we always talk about that, you know. We, like, obviously, you know, things happen for a reason, and, you know, we both just super excited for this year just to go out there and just, you know, just ball out together, you know. And that's obviously, like, that's the biggest thing. That's what we want to do, you know. And like you said, his season got cut short, and he could have easily wavered, but he took it under the chin, and he just like, hey, I'm gonna do whatever it is that I got to do. He still came to meetings last year when he still was staying engaged, and he come every day, and he ready to work every day.
Love that.
Yeah, I got something for you, Damone, and that is right now, Cowboys Nation, demoralized, that might be a little strong, but you see all of these players that we're losing in free agency, and Tyron and, you know, Leighton and Michael gone, and so many Hankins and Dante and Dorrance.
Yeah.
So what do we have to look forward to? What do you feel good about? I guess what I'm asking you is to talk to Cowboys Nation, because right now everyone's ready to jump off the bandwagon if they haven't already.
I say just be patient. You got to just trust the process. I mean, I'm in the same boat that everyone else is in. Like, I don't know myself. You know, I don't be on social media because, you know, it's it get kind of wild on there. So, you know, I don't be on social media. So, I mean, obviously, I see things. Obviously, if someone asks me about it or if someone tell me, you know, that's when I find out a lot of things. So, I mean, my biggest thing for me is just to control the things that I control, and that's the way I come to work every day. And I mean, it ain't like we finna play a game next week. You know, you gotta just obviously you gotta just trust the process. It's easier said than done, but I mean, you really gotta just trust the process. I mean, it's not their first rodeo. You know, you gotta let the my biggest thing, you just let the front office do what the front office do. You know, I'm standing on the player side. I ain't in the front office. I don't get paid to do that. I get paid to, be on the player side. So that's the biggest thing that I do. And I mean, I just say just trust the process. You know, I mean, obviously, like, we all want to win.
Sure.
You know, if every player on this team want to win. You know, we're gonna do whatever it is that we have to do. But obviously, you know, it's the off season. You know, we got a lot of time. And we just got, like I said, just let the front office do what they do. We just do what we do.
I've got one final question for you. This linebacker room, I would say it's kind of like a little unknown, right? You have Eric Kendricks coming in, Demo, fresh off an injury, first year back, haven't really seen what he can do at the NFL level, and you taking on a role as well. What are you most excited about as far as just in that room alone?
I say we all have the will. You know, we all have that will we all want to be great. And we all want to do whatever we can to contribute to the team winning. And, you know, I can't sit here and not bring up Marquise Bell. Just the road that's what I'm saying. Just the road that he took on last year and just being in uncomfortable situations and him just being the guy that's just going out there and him being the team first guy. And whatever he had to do to help the team win. And like you say, it's a lot of unknowns in the room, but that kind of goes back to let the front office work and just,
Zim's gonna make it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he gonna make something shake. And it's like, I'm super excited. You know, obviously it is a lot of unknowns, but I mean, you just got to play the cards that you dealt at the end of the day too. Like, you know, so I mean, I'm super excited. I know the guy's super excited to, you know, get going. And I mean, like I say, we'll see from there. But we got a lot of time, and I'm eager to get started, because the only way to get a bad taste out your mouth is you gotta turn the page. Obviously, that's something that I'm telling myself. You got to turn the page from last year, because I think back about last year all the time. But you got to just turn the page and learn from the mistakes, and just don't make those mistakes again.
We're excited to see what you do in year 3, what the Cowboys do next year. Thank you so much, Damone, for joining us and taking the time out to come over here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk.
I appreciate y'all.
But we're going to take our second break. We'll be right back.
That was smooth.
Thank you.
That was great.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is bringing his Sun Goes Down 2024 tour with the Zach Brown Band and special guests Megan Morney and Uncle Cracker to AT&T Stadium on May 11th. Tickets are on sale now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium. Funny story. It's not a long story. I don't feel like I'd be sitting here if it wasn't for Kenny Chesney. I'm not kidding.
How's that?
So I went to his concert at AT&T Stadium 2 years ago. RJ Ochoa with Blogging the Boys saw a video I had posted of Mike McCarthy, Jason Witten, and Dak Prescott giving a helmet to a little girl during the concert. It went pretty viral. RJ reached out to me, and because of that, I reached out to RJ about a month later to do a job with Blogging the Boys. I ended up podcasting with them. And then a month after that, the concept of Girls Talk, Boys Talk came up. Jane had reached out on social media for women that could talk Cowboys football. RJ threw my name in the hat, and then at that point, Kelsey Charles also threw my name in the hat. So I'd like to think that Kenny Chesney had a little part.
Wow, I love that.
It's a very weird It's one of those, like, had I not gone to that concert, which I bought the tickets for 10 minutes before on SeatGeek, the official ticketing provider of the Dallas Cowboys, or AT&T Stadium, rather, I don't know if I'd be sitting here.
Hey, life is what happens to you while you're making other plans.
Yeah.
It was fun. Good time.
Absolutely. It's a great story.
We've got a couple of minutes left.
And how cool was that to have Damone?
Oh, yeah.
Does everyone feel a little better? Not yet. Just kind of in terms of, we were saying it's hard to be patient, and he acknowledged that as well. But
That's his demeanor, though.
that's his demeanor. It's his demeanor.
He's
but
very
chill.
Yeah, that's how he is. I was not surprised.
100%.
I was laughing to myself when because I'm over here like, the combine be stressful. Like, he's like, it was fun to me.
Hey, if you get to spend a couple months in California getting ready, that's not a bad thing.
Cool,
I also think he gives you a good perspective of
perspective.
where the team is right now following the loss. And I'm so glad he said, like, look, it's my job to be a player and not
100%.
Dictate what happens in the front office. Yeah, and do they have another choice? No. But at the same time, he's focused on him and what he needs to do next year. And that gave me a little bit of a hope raise, if you will, to know that these guys are focusing on getting that bad taste out of their mouth.
And I love the question that Christy had asked. I mean, how do you even exceed your goals when you were the team's leading tackler last year? But, I mean, that just says a lot about the type of player he is, right?
Yeah.
He wants to just continue to get better and do whatever it takes to make this team better.
He
I'm
is super
excited
hard
for
on
him.
himself.
He's a perfectionist. Like, there's times I went up to him and I'll be like, "You're all over the place this game," because I'm watching the film and he's like, "I missed like 3 tackles." I'm like, bro, like, and it is exciting though, because Mike Zimmer has a way of getting the best out of linebacker cores. He's very creative in how he uses his linebackers, and so I'm excited for him to get teaching. But I meant what I said about the fact that he needs mentorship, and he has not really had it consistently. Not again, Leighton has been injured and stuff like that, but linebacker is so much up here.
Absolutely.
If you don't have a veteran teaching you, he's learning on the fly.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I think it was December of last year, that was considered a full rookie year for him. So he's still very fresh in this game.
Last year was his first training camp.
Yes, so the addition of Eric Kendricks is very important to the team overall, but I think for him, he truly needs it. And so I'm excited for him and DeMarvion Overshown to have someone that's played the game this long around and stuff like that, because that's the thing about, he mentioned Leighton's IQ was crazy high.
Yeah.
It just was a point where his body was, not allowing him to do the things that he wanted to do. So I'm excited for the linebacker core to improve, and I think they know that they have to improve.
Yeah. The other thing that I really liked what he said was in regards to Zimmer, I like to be coached hard, because I think that's one of the storylines or one of the things that media and fans are talking about this offseason is the old school style hard nose of Mike Zimmer and young players. You the young players, this generation, they don't, you can't treat players like that. They don't respond. Well, most of the players are like Damone, and that they want to be better.
Yeah.
And so whether it's from a big brother type mentor, Eric Kendricks or Leighton Vander Esch type of thing, but specifically a defensive coordinator or position coach to drive you hard. So I think that what Damone said today dispelled a little bit of that thing about, coaches, the young players, they're not going to respond to a guy like Mike Zimmer. No,
They will.
No, the pros, the guys who are truly professional, respond to anyone who can
Help them get
put them in the right spot and help them to improve individually.
Bow, bow.
All right, bow bow. That was a great show.
Bow, bow.
I knew you were gonna do it. All right, ladies.
I was waiting.
That was a great
Time
show.
to end the show. We're
It
done.
is. Yeah,
We're
that's
done
a
here.
wrap. For Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see y'all next week. Wow.
Bye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?